Okay, so I've opened up the package and everything that you need, just as a checkoff list, you're going to want to make sure that you have this pattern, that pattern, this pattern. This is the bonding material, and then your piece of fabric. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is to take your bonding material and you're going to want to place that over the top of your fabric, like so. Don't get your salvaged edge, which is this really weird rigid part here. We don't want to use that part because it'll kind of mess up the swirls a bit. And lay that over the top of it, and then once you're done with that, we're gonna slice it right along this edge here and then use the extra part to put right here. This is a general idea of what it should look like after you have cut out your bonding material. We're going to iron the bonding material onto the fabric. If you look at your piece of fabric, you'll find that there's an X on it right here. Okay, and then also on the bonding material, you'll find an X as well. So what that means is that you need to make sure that that rigid side is face down on the fabric. So paper side up, like so. The settings on your iron, you need to make sure that you are not on steam and that you're on high heat. So now I'm going to iron this bonding material onto the fabric. Each section probably should be about 5 to 10 seconds to get a good enough bond. Basically what you're doing is you're ironing on a glue onto this fabric material. So that's your next. So here is the bonding material is now glued on there. So what you want to do next is you want to just kind of want to make sure that the edges are not lifting up. Just kind of inspect it everywhere. Make sure that it feels good everywhere and let it cool off before you do anything else. I had a slight overlap, so I didn't want to get that on my ironing board, so I just stuck a piece of paper underneath it so that it didn't ruin my ironing board. So this looks good. Everything looks adhered. And now the next step is that we've got to cut out all these different patterns. So that's what I'm going to do next. I started cutting out some of my pieces. So here's the long piece. I made 2 copies of this piece because you need 2 of each of these designs here. And then I've cut out the big long piece, and I'll show you how to tape that together in just a second. So now I'm going to cut out these 2 pieces. How to tape it together. So there was that line there on that halfway mark, and you just line it up until this curve here lines up and that curve there lines up, and then just tape it. You're going to take that piece, and when you put it on the pattern to trace it down, it's going to go this side down. You'll trace your patterns on the paper side, which is great because it'll make it easier for you to see it. So I'm going to start doing that now. I cut out all my pieces and I've laid them face side down. And as you can see, I used pins because I'm left-handed, so it's a little bit easier for me to keep those swirls in place as I'm tracing it. And it's just kind of like a puzzle piece. I did my big piece first, and I laid that down, kind of did that swirly part a little bit closer to the edge, put this at the top here so that it was lined up here. And as you can see, I did not put that bonding material on that salvaged edge. You want to stay away from that. And then you just kind of put your pieces in there until it fits. And so now all of it fits. And now I'm going to cut it. I'm going to trace it out and cut it out. Okay, so my big piece is all done now. And so it's all traced out. Now I just need to cut all of this out. Don't take the paper back off. Just cut out the pieces, put them in your baggie, and return it to us by Sunday. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call or send pictures or whatever it is that you need help with. Just a couple of things. As you can see here, this trace that I do in here, it's actually connected. So you'll want to cut that slit all the way up to that point right there. And then you kind of run into the same thing here on this one. And as you can see, like my lines are all rigid and stuff, so don't worry about that. Just as long as your cut is nice and smooth, like right there is kind of rigid. So I'll kind of smooth that out so it's a nice, good, clean cut right there. You'll want to make sure that you have a good pair of cutting scissors, otherwise this is going to be even more miserable for you. Thank you guys so much for being willing to do this. I promise you will love these costumes, and it will be well worth all of the work you guys are putting into it. Thanks.